The energy inside the arena was electric as Victor Ortiz and Josesito Lopez stepped into a ring that felt more like a pressure cooker, ready to explode. Ortiz, the rising star with raw power and explosive charisma, carried himself with a confidence that bordered on dangerous. His intense stare, clenched jaw, and sharp movements told the world he wasn't here for a simple win. He was here to make a statement. He was the favorite, the stronger man, the faster man, the one expected to dominate. Across from him stood Josesito Lopez, the underdog with nothing to lose and everything to fight for. Lopez carried no hype, no big expectations, no spotlight. What he did carry was a heart forged in hardship and a mindset that refused to break. His calmness wasn't weakness. It was a deep, simmering determination. When the bell rang, the two fighters launched into a violent chess match that shocked everyone. Ortiz came storming forward, throwing fast combinations, digging to the body, ripping left hand. Upstairs, Lopez absorbed the shots, refusing to retreat, answering with sharp counters that snapped Ortiz's head just enough to remind him that this wasn't going to be a walkover. The suspense grew with every exchange. The crowd expected Ortiz to break Lopez early, but Lopez's toughness and timing began unsettling the favorite. Ortiz attacked with the confidence of a star, but Lopez responded with the hunger of a man who had spent his entire life fighting uphill battles. The sound of leather smashing into ribs echoed through the arena. Yet Lopez didn't fold. He stepped right back into the pocket, firing a right hand that buzzed Ortiz and drew a gasp from the crowd. Suddenly, the energy shifted. For the first time, Ortiz showed hesitation, a flicker of doubt, but he masked it with aggression, pushing forward, unleashing more power shots, trying to reassert dominance. Lopez, however, seemed to grow stronger with every punch he absorbed. When the round ended, both men glared across the ring, eyes burning, chests heaving. The message was clear. This wasn't just a fight, it was a war in the making. The second round erupted with even more fire as Ortiz charged out of his corner, determined to break Lopez's resolve early. His punches carried heavier intention, more venom, more force, more urgency, as if trying to erase the unsettling moments from the opening round. Ortiz hammered Lopez with snapping jabs and crushing left crosses that echoed through the arena like thunder. But Lopez, instead of buckling, fed off the pressure. With every shot landed against him, he stepped closer, testing Ortiz's composure with tight counters and perfectly timed body shots that dug into Ortiz's ribs. The suspense tightened around the arena like a noose as fans realized Lopez wasn't just standing, he was fighting back with purpose. Ortiz's frustrations started to bubble. He expected control, dominance, fear. Instead, he was facing a man who refused to blink, refused to slow down, refused to let the odds dictate the outcome. Ortiz tried to reset, circling, then exploding forward with a huge left hand that clipped Lopez clean. The crowd erupted, believing the tide had finally turned. But Lopez didn't fall. He didn't stagger. Instead, he stepped toward Ortiz, chin up, eyes burning, and unleashed a combination that forced Ortiz backward for the first time. The underdog was growing, evolving, becoming more dangerous with every second. The pressure shifted subtly, but the impact was massive. The arena could feel it. Ortiz sensed it. Lopez knew it. Every second of the round was war. Ortiz throwing with power, Lopez responding with grit. In the final seconds, a furious exchange erupted as both fighters traded bombs in center ring. When the bell rang, neither man moved away immediately. Instead, they stared at each other, breathing hard, soaked in sweat, radiating defiance. Whatever this fight was becoming, one thing was clear. Lopez was no longer the underdog. He was a threat. By the third round, the fight had transformed into something raw, chaotic, and deeply personal. Ortiz tried to reclaim control by coming out sharp, focusing on precision instead of volume. He snapped fast jabs, stepped around angles, and picked moments to launch his left hand, his most dangerous weapon. Lopez, however, wasn't giving him the space. He pressed forward relentlessly, slipping shots, digging to the body, breaking down Ortiz's legs and stamina. The suspense in the arena felt suffocating. Every punch felt like it might change the entire fight. Midway through the round, Ortiz landed a massive left hand that sent sweat spraying from Lopez's head. The crowd screamed, thinking the break is finally there. But Lopez somehow stayed on his feet. And then he did the unthinkable. He fired back a right hand that cracked Ortiz on the jaw and shook him to his knee. Or, you could see Ortiz's confidence crack, just a hairline fracture, but enough to shift everything. Lopez sensed it instantly, stepping forward with vicious combinations. Ortiz clinched, trying to slow the oncoming storm. But Lopez kept pressing, ripping shots inside, digging uppercuts that snapped Ortiz's head back. The round turned into a brutal exchange of round 4 began like the opening scene of a storm. Quiet for a moment, then exploding without warning. Ortiz tried to box smart, controlling distance, but Lopez was dialed in, stepping through every jab, forcing Ortiz to fight instead of think. The exchanges became brutal. Lopez landed a ripping right to the body that bent Ortiz slightly, and sensing weakness, he pressed forward with a combination upstairs that snapped Ortiz's head back. Ortiz fired back desperately with a flurry, but Lopez absorbed it and kept punching. The suspense in the arena turned into fear. Fear that something dramatic was about to break. And then it happened. In a violent mid-round exchange, Ortiz stepped into a heavy left, but Lopez countered with a perfectly timed right hand that stunned Ortiz badly. Ortiz backed up, blinking, his legs betraying him. Lopez smelled blood. He attacked viciously, ripping combinations that echoed across the ring. Ortiz, hurt, tried to survive, but Lopez's pressure was relentless, suffocating, merciless. Ortiz's jaw, already under stress, gave way under the barrage. In the corner between rounds, Ortiz told his team he couldn't continue. The fight was over. Lopez had done the impossible. He broke the favorite. He shocked the world. He turned a simple fight into one of the most unforgettable and dramatic upsets in boxing history.